I've always felt different. I've always seen things, but when I tried to express them as a child, I was always told to ignore it.
There were people that I didn't know that came to me and said, I have this message that I keep getting that I have to deliver to you.
All of a sudden, out of the shadows, a homeless man just jumped right in front of me. And he said, I'm a soul just like you.
I love it.
I wanted to understand the universe and who and what we are and what are we doing here.
We're all part of this amazing soul wave tapping into each other.
This was a major life changer.
You are a light. You have helped me a ton. Thank you.
You've given me the courage to live more from my soul.
Millions of people are awakening. So wake up with Michele Meiché, the place to hear the best-selling authors and experts in the fields of cutting-edge self-help, personal growth, metaphysics, and spirituality. The soul path of awakening. Understand what living awake is.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm Michele. If you're new here, Awakenings with Michele Meiché, live stream and also podcast on all your fave podcast platforms and also YouTube. We post some replays there and also do some lives there. We're starting to do more. In fact, we have a couple scheduled. Welcome everyone that is getting in the chat. If you do have questions or comments or you want to share something, you can always put it in the chat, maybe put a question mark or something, maybe an emoji or something that kind of catches my eye. Otherwise, you can also call in. So if you are new, I kind of tune in. I talk a little bit about information I've gotten from the guide, sometimes some astrology, answer questions, whether in the chat or people calling in or email questions that I've gotten. Or questions, which today I'm actually going to look at some of the questions I've got from some of my private clients, mentees, and people that I work with in my Soul Path Awakening community and Soul Study group on Patreon. And so we've been doing a bit of a deeper dive into preparing for this year, really the next 8 to 10 years, as we're in such a pivotal point. And that pivoting really starts this year. It's going to be more noticeable. And, you know, if you think of a pivot, I like to look at it as like a big yacht or ocean liner, right? When that thing is turning, you don't always notice that it's turning. You don't even feel that it's turning unless you're very, perceptive or sensitive. And that may be going on right now in your life. You might be perceiving that there's a turning point happening in your life or you're needing to pivot. You may be getting a message. Some of you, this is coming in their job or their career. I've had quite a few people I've been working with where they're like, it's no longer working what I'm doing. Or I've always been really successful and I've never not had clients or customers or this kind of dip or I just feel flat, like I'm flatlining in what I'm doing, or I'm feeling kind of disorientated. And some of you know through the numerology, because I'm also a master numerologist, I take a lot of things, Jungian therapy, dream therapy, shamanic, anyway, weave it all together. But we're coming out and we're not yet totally out of it because universal cycles, collective cycles, we go into them and go out of them, the major cycles, a bit slower. And so you may even be feeling a little grief or at loss right now with what you're going through, or like you are letting something go. And some of you may know what you're letting go of. Some of you may be feeling this energetic pivot, which the pivot is a sensing, pivoting. And that was the guides, the spiritual hierarchy, the oversouls, that was their word. And so what I'd like to do, even though I know the word, sometimes I'd like to look up things to get even more mass, right? More understanding on something. And the pivot is a critical time, right? It's a central point. And that pivot is movement. Now, one of the things, because when I was looking it up, ever play basketball? I mean, I did back in the day, and I keep thinking I'd like to go back to it because it's so fun. But anyway, you're dribbling the ball or whoever, if you're watching it, and they do something where one foot is stationary and another foot and leg moves forward and backward, usually when they're going to take a shot. And they're trying to, other people are around them, putting their hands up, trying to block the shot. And so they pivot back and forth. So you could feel like now that you're pivoting back and forth turning on, one foot, you pivot around your foot, like pivoting on an axis. So that pivot is really important. That's coming from your soul through your higher self. So if you're getting that message, I would write it down, jot it down. I would put it in a voice note. I would pay attention. And I would pay attention how the energy feels when you pivot, not on how am I going to do this or how does this fit into my life? Don't worry about that. That's like conditioning. That's the old you. That's the formatted you. That's the previous you. And I've been doing, I see. Hello, Monopoly in the chat. Hey, everyone in the chat, and Christy. I'm doing, you guys, the Patreon. I really suggest everybody join the Patreon, whatever tier you can. I am putting so much more content and directional stuff just because, first of all, the core people there that have been working with me already have a good foundation of what's what, and they're doing, a lot of them are doing really, really well. Even if there's challenges, they're slaying it. They're awakening to their gifts, their intuition, the downloads, their business growing. There's just a lot happening on many levels. But people that have been connecting with me for a long time, whether on this podcast or working with me or whatever, doing workshops or seminars or whatever, or Patreon or individual, know that I kind of get fired up during key points when there's a lot that's happening or going to be happening. When the etheric plane, the inner plane, starts rumbling, that means we're going to have rumblings, wrinkles and runkles. I call them little wrinkles and big waves of change. And so I did a deep dive. I did 3 short videos, like 10 minutes each. And for each house, if you have Saturn in Aries and Neptune in Aries going in the first house, what you can affect and what you could expect rather, and how it will affect you and what to do. So I'm really honing in on how this is shaping us as individual beings, as soul beings, on the earth plane, and how it's going to be affecting the collective. And what excites me is so much of my predictions and stuff is coming to pass. And in fact, I had a session the other day with somebody that's in technology, and some of the stuff that I was saying about AI and some other things, they knew. They said, yeah, you're right. That's what's happening and going to be happening. So we're getting reshaped, and we're shaping society, and it's coming through us. And part of what's happening is we're moving into a space of right use of will and right understanding of will. And you see so much happening. And I'm actually will do some, and you can ask questions on this because that totally opens the channel, with the information. The not understanding will or willpower, you see it happening right now in the mainstream world. It's like, soccer moms or whatever. And I'm not saying that pejoratively or putting anybody down, but people that okay, get your, maca faca latte, whatever, frasha latte or whatever, your latte, and you go, and do whatever, go to your Pilates or yoga, are spinning out, all kinds of people. And it's like this will center, and you're going to see more of that. That is this energy pattern that is coming in. I've talked about this. I warned about this since 2009, but a lot more in 2011. I said, people pitting against each other, whatever you want to call it, civil war, and that it would be more domestic, violence, terrorism. And part of it is the energy that's coming in. It is a feisty energy. It's Aries energy. And even before we see it as an aspect, this energy is already on the planet. By the time we start looking at an aspect, it's already happening, or a numerology cycle or whatever. This energy has been percolating, and a lot of you could probably see it in a lot of different ways, the independence. And so you have what the governing group or elite or cabal, whatever cabal you want to talk about, the organizing principle, in form, right? Saturnian energy, organizations, governments, they're feeling this too. And a lot of them work with people like me and other seers and astrologers. They know what's going on. So there's this time sensitivity, this clamp down. But I will tell you, we are going to go through what we're going to go through. So part of what's happening is these people don't know what to do with the energy, the time, the space, and they don't feel empowered. They do not have a spiritual connection. A lot of them do not have a soul connection. They're still in only the collective soul. We all have a collective soul, but we have an individual soul as well. And we're aligned or in attuned and connected to that frequency. Well, a lot of these people, they're not, how do I want to say this? Some people have more consciousness than others, and you can see that. Now, whether you want to say that's how they're manifesting on this dimension, they're only manifesting a certain aspect or a part. You can see it in animal beings. Anybody can see it if you have a pet dog or cat. Some of them are like humans. Yoshi, people would say, my God, Michele, Yoshi is like a little human. So everything comes in with a certain level of consciousness. So the less amount of consciousness you have, the more you're able to get entrained into group think. You don't stop and go, hey, no, I'm not doing that. Or let me think about this. So because these people are feeling that same energy, you're going to see more and more ramping up because they think they're doing something. But what it is, it's kind of like, and a lot of it too, if I look at it as as a therapist, that part of me, some of it is this arrested development that you have, you see in middle school, but not everybody. There's more conscious people. I work with some very conscious, awake, aware kids, as clients of mine that are 11, 12, 13, 14, 17, 20, and they're very, they came in conscious. Those are our star seeds. Not everybody comes in that way. So you have bullying. And so what happens in middle school, you're thrown out and you don't know what to do, like, oh, what's the hip thing? What's the cool thing? What's everybody doing? Well, that's what we have going on. And that's most of our society. This is why the mainstream world or mainstream consciousness is not the place where the change happens. It's on the fringe. It's the artists, it's the mystics, one and the same. So that is your soul call. That is your soul mission to do this, because it doesn't happen unless we do it. And frankly, that's why you came back. That's why you're here. That's why you incarnated. That's why you're encoded. And what's great, I don't know if she'll be listening to this live stream. We had a great session. And actually this session was so aligned because I was doing, which happens not all the time, but when it happens, I'm always like God-smacked. I'm always like, oh my God, I love this life. I love I love spirit. I love the spiritual connection. The readings that I was doing readings for Patreon and the community, the group there, and videos on what's coming up with Saturn moving into Aries, and Neptune in Aries in January 26th, and Saturn February 14th, which I'm going to be talking a lot about probably ad nauseum because there's so many ways to look at it. But I am going to give an overview and a template and then kind of individualize, because it's really important to understand these energies. I understand them from a lot of different ways as a psychic channel and a medium, getting the visions, the downloads, astrology, numerology. Let's look at the tarot. Let's look at the Kabbalah, whatever. If you can take as many systems, the I Ching, you'll see how they all interweave. And that will help you actually even feel more confident in what you're receiving and downloading, because that's what it's really about. Anyway, some of the stuff in the session was exactly the videos that I was doing. And I was like, oh my God. And then I was thinking about having this certain astrologer on the podcast. I'm like, I've been seeing her. I've been thinking about her. I have her book. And I was like, oh, I want to get her back on. And this person, I don't know if it was saw the podcast, or I think the audio cast, the podcast, listened to the podcast of the interview and conversation I'd had with this astrologer, very well-known astrologer, fun, love her work, love her energy. And that's how she found me. She'd studied with the astrologer, knew how she found the astrologer was through the podcast, I think, or I don't know, what are the same. But anyway, the bottom line is, and then she was listening to the podcast and started doing deep dives on me and what I'm about, what I do, and then had the session. I then, right after the session, I said, oh, I got to email the producer and say, we got to get her back on. the astrologer, I emailed the producer, Sadie, emails me back and says, she's already scheduled. February, I think 16th or 18th, whatever it is. And I was like, oh my God, look at that alignment. Look at that boom, 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 boom. And who knows if she reached out. I think last time she reached out and her publicist or whatever for the book. But anyway, but what I want to also share with you, because I've been doing this podcast, we've all, you all have in the chat. I get messages. I've been listening to you 8 years, Michele, 10 years. I think 2007, gang, right? Because on a different platform, when I was on the internet radio platform, mostly interviewing kind of new age musicians and doing a little talk here and there. I think 2008, because I had predicted about Obama and talking about that whole thing, and we had Colin, and that was on Blog Talk Radio. So what I can tell you, and this person even kind of validated because they're from a corporate world, the way that people are awakening, or I say decoding, some of you people are not just, they're not awakening. They're awakening. We're continually awakening, but it's more of a decoding, what they're encoded with, the message, the mission, what they're meant to do. And I'm seeing it in the corporate world. And these people think they have to change. I'm like, no, we need you. We need you to organize. We need people in the structures and the systems to help there or create other systems. So I was sharing, your soul's purpose is not what you do, it's how you do what you do. There's tons of people, there's I guess thousands of people that do what I do, but nobody does it the way I do it, and I don't do it exactly the way they do it. That's what's make the resonance. So you want to start looking right now, and that is that Saturn, Neptune, and Aries connection. It's going to be a potpourri. What are all the things that you do? It's all somehow going to come together, and that's what makes resonance. Because people resonate subconsciously, not even sometimes it's conscious, sometimes it's by what you promote or how you share. That person's into this, or they look this way, or they like this, they like granola, I like granola, whatever, we go for it. But on the deeper level, it's energetic, right? It's psychic. It's from the psyche, the soul. It's the Akashic, it's the astral where the emotional body comes in. It's that pattern. You have a similar patterning, akashically, astrally, and etherically, and therefore your life there's enough resonance and a similarity. So it's your calling card, your energy pattern, your electromagnetic resonant field of energy is your calling card. And so what's going to be happening a lot, and I'm kind of getting a little toughy here, guys, with people, because I see people, they getting into things. It's like you're gonna get, this year is like push or get off the pot, do it or don't do it. Do it for yourself, or healing, or because you want to do stuff for you, or are you getting downloads? You have a plan, you have a mission, you have something you want to do, and it could be just that you want to be an artist. This is the year to do it, or start it and find it, because it's what's going to start happening. And I've already seen it with some of my clients. There's going to be this inner energetic urgency. Like I have to do it, my soul. And you're going to be looking for direction, and it may not be where you are now. You might have to wait, because what's happening is the people right now that are at a certain level are getting moved on. It's like school. You're going into the next grade. You're upgrading. That's why some people, you're not resonating with certain types of relationships or certain people anymore. It's not to say you don't connect back to them, but you might have what I call more space, looser boundaries. You might not be as, connected on the earth plane. Obviously, spiritually, you are. Always. There's no separation there. But this is all because the reshaping of the world, of how humanity responds, and creates, and the systems that we have, the organizations, the areas of life, expression, is going to come through individuals. So the reshaping has to come. So this is a time of intense reshaping. Now, some of you might think that's fun. I do, because I have some lovely aspects to Pluto. So I'm all about reshaping. That's why I love doing hypnotherapy. I love it. so if you have, a lot of Aquarius in your chart, or you have some nice Pluto, if you've been working with this energy for a while, or you're obviously part of the Soul Path Awakening and Journey group, you're going to be in for this. You're going to be, ooh, yippee, let's go. This is scary, or I like it, or wow, I can really be me. Because this is one of the things that the messages I got is we're not reinventing anything. We're revealing. So in truth, when you say, "Oh, I'm reinventing myself," or I'm getting a brand," yeah, you could say that in the mainstream world, but in truth, on a soul level, you're revealing. You're taking off the layers, right? You're peeling the banana, so more of the authentic or true you can come in. And there's many ways to do that. Let's see, somebody saying Pam Gregory. Yeah, I will. Yeah, we have Dr. Jude Curavan is in the UK. We have a lot of guests that are international. We have a lot of guests that are many time zones. Yeah, all over the place. So, yeah, let's see, Sunray, been listening since 2020, 21. Yay, Sunray's in the house. Hello, Sunray. Oh, and hello, everyone. Good to see you. Hi, Monopoly. If you have questions, let me know. Call in. Our guest will be coming on at 12:30, or if you put it in the chat also. Hey, Fax Porcupine, haven't seen you in a while. Hope all's good. So let's talk about this. One of the things that's happening, probably happening with you right now in different ways, is we're a bit of an energy cleanse. There could be a lot of emotions coming up right now, and that is a little bit of this, this Neptunian energy, plus the North Node in Pisces, gang, right? Ruled by Neptune. So the energy cleanse, you might be a little weepy or a little laughing out loud to yourself, or crying, or griefy, or something coming up, or just funky, just weird, odd, something unusual that you're like, you can't quite place it. The new emerging consciousness comes through embodiment, and that's very different than previous, I'm going to say soul-centered or spiritual evolving, or downloads, or consciousness expanding and having more awareness. It's all been very heady, like you go and escape. I studied meditation. That's why I wrote the book, Meditation for Everyday Living, and all the recordings and stuff. But I remember it was all about getting out of your head, samadhi, samadhi. You want to get out, it's like you're trapped. Even studying like mysticism or Christian mysticism, it was all about getting out of the body. The only things, maybe some of the more indigenous was working with the body, but make no mistake, a lot of the other, whether they're mainstream or more traditional conventional religions, the biggies, or even Buddhism, Hinduism, those kind of things, it's, trapped in the body, or getting out of the body, or expanding out of. But the truth is, our body is it's like a half a part of your fingernail, maybe on your pinky. We're energetic. We're in the subtle energy. That's why understanding the subtle energy is so important. So this Neptune in Aries, especially that part that is going to redefine. It's redefining us more into the subtle energy of us, the spiritual aspect, the immortal. Also changing our mental constructs to be able to do things more on the mental plane, understanding the astral plane. We're going to have our guests coming on talking about that. One of my fave areas to jump into, Akashic, astral, etheric. So understanding the fullness of us, and grounding and anchoring that. Now, I will tell you, Saturn is great. I mean, it can be a little taskmaster. It can be kind of, difficult, challenging, only because people go, well, it limits or it's hard work. Well, who is going to do the work here, guys? I keep telling people that everybody's thinking, oh, awakening is harder, or having this new consciousness or new earth is hard. And I'm like, yes, effort. Human people, we're the instrument of the soul. I don't know what people were thinking, but it's kind of like the pioneer days or the gold rush. It was a lot of work. Yeah, people made a lot of money. People will do very well in these economies too, but it's going to take a persistent effort or some kind of consistency. And just like building a business, there is parts that it's more work until it gets to a certain level and it's kind of in a flow, or you're learning something new. So that becomes challenging. So Saturn, especially with that in Neptune, Saturn anchoring that energy with that Neptune there, especially during the conjunction in February, that's like the key in the lock. Like now, if you think of your Saturn return, whichever first, second, or third, what return, or any type of Saturn aspect or Saturn transit, we're not going to be in la la land anymore, gang. It's going to be pedal to the let's get this done. I got to do this. Let's organize this. Let's put the steps in a fun way, because you have a vision and you're inspired. But it is going to be more realistic. Like, is this really paying off? Is this really right? Where do I need to really put my time, my energy? I laughingly and jokingly tell some of my friends and colleagues, I'm like, listen, gang, I'm just telling you, the days of going to Tuscany with the yoga retreat and drinking a bunch of wine and doing a little yoga and cycling on the bike are over. People are going to go, what am I learning? What's my bang for my buck? It's not going to be just, I need to check out. That was very Piscean. That was very old paradigm. How can I help? Where can I serve? What are we creating? What are we building? So this whole idea of, ladies at lunch and, lattes and Pilates and yoga and just gossiping about everyone, but you look good on Instagram, are going to be over, because anybody can do that. It's a dime a dozen, and you can do it with some great filters too. So things that really connect you to your true you. One of the things I've been predicting, and I've gotten about 5 sources that are very, do I want to call high up in the world of AI and technology. And I've said, look, what I've been seeing for years, because I've even been I remember once in Whole Foods, this guy, he must have been about 22, 25, no older. And we were talking, he goes, oh, I'm just a little, I go, how are you doing? What's wrong? Oh, I'm just a little, I don't know, it's kind of depressed. I'm like, what's going on? AI. This was years ago. Okay. This was years ago when it was just, we've been in AI for 20, 30 years anyway, versions of it. He goes, I just don't know what's going to happen. Are we going to be replaced? Is it going to be like our God? He went on and on. And I looked at him, I said, no, it's programmed. Infinite consciousness and awareness can never be out trumped or smart. I go, and all the stuff on the internet is old information anyway. That's why we're having to, that's why new forms are needed. We need people with the new emerging consciousness to create the songs, the videos, the MP3s, whatever, the downloads, whatever, the books, the organizations, whatever it is. And so we had a little talk, because there was no one behind me for a little bit. And then he felt better. And I go, yeah, think about it. I go, the internet, great. I love it. I love AI. I love that it's an augmentation or tool. I said, but people have to program it. And then their slant is in the programming. And they only program, it's just aggregating. It's like a big dictionary. It's just aggregating, or thesaurus, or an encyclopedia. It's just aggregating from different sources. But those sources are already old. So I predict, and I've already gotten a few confirmations of this, that people in that world, that people will be hired, real people in specific, niche markets or areas or sectors, to seed the internet, to seed the AI with new information, new combinations. So again, that's Saturn. Where's the practicality? So it's like to have that vision, but do you have the practicality? And some of that is going to be very earth based, because Saturn, that Capricorn energy, it is about earth. Saturn is about not just learning lessons, but if you want to build a house, you got to grade the ground. You got to have a schematic or blueprint. You got to do the framing first. You can't just say, oh, I want to have a luscious big tub and an open window. The guy's going to go, we got to do the electrical, we got to do the framing. I think the framing is the first thing you do. And then you got to put that padding stuff and all that, and drywall, and there's so many things. So I want to share this with you because if you're feeling like I've got to rush, I've got to hurry, because it's a faster energy, but you've got to learn to have space with it, let things marinate more, let your higher self come through. I've been hearing people like after a session with me, they're like, wow, I've been trying to rush this, haven't I? I've been trying to push and it's not working. I've been trying to force this. And I'm like, yeah, you need to align to the force field, but not the force until it's like you're ready to sprint, like you're launching the next day and you got things last minute to do. Yeah, that's fine. That's the human ego. That's great. But not in the finer details, because a lot of things are still coming together and marinating. So some of you may be saying, okay, I don't have all the pieces yet. And that's okay. You'll get them, because Saturn wants you to get it right the first time. Doesn't want us to have, extra effort, too much effort. Wants just the right amount of effort, what we call applied action. You apply the right amount of action. And that has to do also with that right use of will, understanding what is will. What is true will or willpower? How do we have this willpower and right relationship with ourself, our higher self, and understanding ourself as spirit in form, a soul, instrument of the soul, or where our body and everything is in the consciousness, is in the resonant fields of consciousness, right? The subtle energy. And so what's going to be required is that you understand that and tap more into that, heal, live, get your answers from that, create from that, because otherwise we're just going to be creating the same old thing from the same old vibrational frequency. The whole idea is to bring the soul into the game. That's on the website, Soul Playground, right? We got to bring the soul in, but you have to be tapping into the soul, aligned, attuned to the frequency of the soul. Otherwise, you're just repeating what was already done. So this is why some things might seem like, oh, it's taking a little longer, or the role or the piece I have is kind of small right now, or I have a lot of little pieces to fit together. This is going to take a while. My little humble opinion is, don't worry about that, or don't think of, how long is it going to take, because if you're in alignment, there will be exponential leaps. There will be miracles. It's all about that alignment and attuning to your soul signature frequency, the most powerful resonance for you that has just enough dissonance for change, but in contrast, because that's the earth plane, but more harmonizing. The more harmonized you are between the aspects of you, whether you want to call it spirit realm, Akashic realm, astral realm, etheric realm, the physical, denser physical realm, the material, money, that figures, that's part of this game, energy exchange. But the next step is creating the new systems. That's at Uranus and Gemini, Pluto, in Aquarius, and definitely Saturn and Neptune also, in Aries, also. And don't forget, we're going to have, we have the North Node right now. That's going to be doing its transit also. That's going to be doing its moves also. So everything is aligning so that we have the tools, and also the vibrational frequency alignment into not only the vision, but the pieces, the energy of it. We're getting recalibrated to be able to be these instruments of the soul, right? To receive the downloads and to respond in a way, whatever it is, painting a picture, whatever it is going to be for you. It's not about rushing to just complete something, because a lot of that's is going to get flushed out. If you're not in alignment or not on the right, path, you're not going to get that traction. You're just not, and a lot of people may be doing things that they're not really suited for, not by the universe, not by anybody outside of you, but by you, by your very own higher self. Like, this is what you're really here to do, or this is what you're really meant to do. And some of that will be some level, for not everyone, but for some people, service. Or even if you're an artist and you're like, I just want to paint, I want to move to Greece and just paint and then do some shows. There will be some transformative element, because what the universe is responding to and reading is through the subconscious, is through the energetic matrix of us. It's not through always what we outwardly do. It's the vibrational frequency of that. It's the energy that we hold, that force field of energy, the truth that we hold. That's what gets communicated, not the outer, how many subscribers, how much money, how many books, how many people know our name. That's cool, that's interesting, that's fun. But if you don't have that juice, you're not really affecting change. You might be bringing awareness, but that's a much different thing. Awareness is part of change and updating, upgrading, evolution, but that's not a transmitter. That's not giving the transmission. And that's where we're going individually and collectively, is being these transmitters, the broadcasters, drawing the energy in, putting it out, and understanding the frequency we're on, and if what we're drawing in, and how to adjust that. So anyway, soul lights, let me know in the chat how this resonates for you, if you're already experiencing this. I just want to make sure people know, because my hope sometimes, and I do see this happen, or hear it. I get people will say, "Oh, Michele predicted that," or "This happened," so I know we're on the right track. This is nothing out of the blue. So when I'm talking about that Saturn principle being very important for especially the next couple of years, but also the Neptune, I'm talking about Saturn as the builder, but Neptune being in Aries, it's about opening up to more of the spiritual aspect of us and creating a different dream or goal or vision. Saturn is going to help us to go, hey, but it's only around 2 years, guys. This is why I'm nudging people. I know I'm saying the same thing over and over, but if you think you have endless time, and I'll be honest, sometimes people say, oh, it's meant to be, it's meant to be. No, that's not true. We do mess up. There are certain things that could have exactly experienced that I didn't do. I wasn't ready, or I had fear, or I had a misperception of something. You'll get a version of what you're meant to do. But again, because the soul is, infinite and spirit is infinite, if you don't do it this lifetime or it doesn't get done, there's nobody up there saying shame on you, or you're a bad person, or this isn't going to happen, because things happen differently. Once we're incarnate on the earth plane, there's all kinds of variables. So yeah, we don't always show up as we want to, or need to, or meant to. But I'm saying to the people that feel a calling right now, you got 2 years that it's going to be easier to, and you're going to be more helped by various aspects on the spirit realm, whether you want to call it your higher self, God consciousness, all that is, guardian angel, angelic realm, ascended masters, I don't care what you're talking about, whatever, just the thrust of where things are going in the etheric field, the resonant field of creation and consciousness. You are supported right now. So and Saturn says, just take a chance, just start little, just bridge, just start it, and you will start seeing that the momentum starts coming in. Anyway, let's bring our guest in, shall we, for the second half of the program for our dialogue, or awakening dialogue. I'm very excited to talk to this person. We've got Scarlett Seebach, Reiki Master, human design reader, and also creator of Astral Reiki, which I want to know more about that in human design as well. Hi, Scarlett. Welcome to the live stream.
Hi, Michele. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Oh, it's great to be here with you too. So let's just, so people know, I know something's, is your website, is Abundant Design, and that's also Insta, right?
Yes, it's yourabundantdesign.com, or if it's easier, astralreiki.net.
Oh, also Astral Reiki. Okay. I want to talk about that for sure. And I also human design, I want to know more. I have had my chart done, so I'm fascinated by it. I'm a traditional or Western astrologer. I don't know much about human design, and just enough to say a couple of things, but it intrigues me. Just right off the bat, are we still in that, what is it, the rising phoenix? Are we moving out of that?
I think we're actually just moving into it.
Oh, good, good, good. Okay, I have that in my design chart, so I'm kind of excited. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's start a little bit with you. A little bit of your background, whatever you want to share, and what led you to what you're doing now.
So, as you said, I am a Reiki Master and a crystal healing specialist and a human design reader. Those are my three main things. And I started off with Reiki. And when I was in my Reiki 2 class, that was the moment that I figured out how to do Astral Reiki. So that was super fun for me. They were teaching us how to do distance Reiki, and I've been able to astral project pretty much my whole life, pretty much like everybody else. All we got to do is dream.
Yeah.
And I just kept thinking, wow, this is so inefficient. I could just pop right out of my body, go over there, and conduct this energy through my astral body instead. And something tells me it would work way better. So I did, and I startled my client, who luckily was a friend of mine, so she was very cool with it. And that was kind of how Astral Reiki was born. So
I'm so glad. So you're doing the distance. I'm so glad you're doing that. I don't know why more people don't. I don't know if that's not in the training, but
it's complicated. I think a lot of people don't have confidence in their abilities to do it at a distance. It's just not nearly as tangible.
Yeah.
I think for me it's different because I do it differently. So it's just easier.
I actually had a couple of years ago from a friend of mine. I was I can't remember what I was going through now. I don't hold on to stuff, but I don't know if it was my dog had crossed over. That was one thing I went through. And I don't know if I was sick, something was going on or my back. But anyway, she told me, she's like, and she was in New York at the time. I'm in Southern California. And she was like, oh, I'll do some Reiki on you after, in a while or whatever. I'll do, she's going to do some distance Reiki. And I said, okay, fine. So I am reading like a couple hours later, about an hour. And listen, I could feel it coming in. I could see it in the energy and feel something coming. And I thought, is that me? Is that my God? Am I supposed to meditate and tune in? What's going on? And I go, no, that's not me. And I had forgot what she said because it was wild. And this energy came in, totally worked on me. And then I had a flash. I'm like, is that light? She do Reiki on me? And I could feel, because it was amazing. I mean, I was like, and literally sitting in my bed reading, and I could just feel this energy coming, but I could also energetically see it. I could see the energy coming in. It totally helped me so much. But you're right, because guess what? When I called her on my walk later, and I told her what happened, and she goes, oh my God, Michele, you could feel that? And I said, yes, Lace, yes, I felt it. When did, and I told her the exact time, and it was the exact time she was doing. But you're right. She didn't trust. She was like, I didn't know if you would feel anything or notice anything.
Yeah. And
yeah,
what is
it? Is that
don't.
They don't. Okay. Okay.
With distance Reiki, they do when I do it, but for the most part,
well, obviously you do. I'm just telling the story too because it shows that you can feel it. But let me ask you, because most people, I mean, I love energy work. Also, I do energy work. I feel like. Do you think it's the person, the practitioner, or the person, or combo of it?
It's definitely a combo. The clients are going to have varying levels of energy sensitivity, so they're going to have varying levels of awareness about what's going on. And the practitioners have varying levels of capacity. So it's both.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I agree with you. Yes, that is really important. So I don't know if there's any way you would know that, though, right?
When it comes to the practitioner,
I guess interesting.
I mean, I think you can tell when you're receiving depending on your energetic awareness. Like, you kind of know when you're receiving how intense the experience is and how much capacity the practitioner has. But without actually experiencing it for yourself, I suppose probably not really.
Right. You'd have to just kind of trust. So let's
Mhm.
talk about, I love that. So did you just find that you were more able to do this first, or did you kind of set out to do it and then it kind of strengthened with you the ability to transmit?
Oh, that definitely happened on accident.
Oh, okay.
I didn't really even mean to transmit this way in the first place. It just kind of it came. It was like the most natural thing in the world happened just one day, and then I just kept doing that.
Okay. Because you were doing it but distance, you just said, let me kind of try it, or?
No, it literally happened the very first time I ever tried doing distance Reiki. I'm not like 100% sure that I can do distance Reiki the traditional way, if I'm
Right.
honest.
Right.
I've always done it via astral projection, literally
Okay.
the first time I
Tapping
tried.
in. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I think it's like, I mean, it's just, it's what you do when you get there, how are you
Mhm.
accessing? And I think that's the key, is the access point. And yeah. Okay. Let's talk about that then. Let's talk a little bit about the astral Reiki.
Okay. And what would you like to know?
Everything. Just how you
Okay.
got into it, what you do, because I feel like, well, most healing needs to get to that level anyway. And I feel also something, by what we're talking about. I find this in all kind of areas of healing or divination or attunement work, is that sometimes it's recognizing what's my access point, what's my way of getting in. And a lot of times when I'm helping people, mentoring or teaching intuition development or psychic or channeling or remote viewing, telepathic, on and on, sometimes people are like, well, I don't get it this way, I'm not getting the message, but they're accessing. So maybe that's a good question for you too to start with, is how did you know?
Mm,
Yes, you see what I'm saying? Some, like, I kind of an
yes.
open channel, I get in a lot of different ways. And then in fact, because I had to work on my ego and ego strengthening, I was more, I was lower levels intuitive psychic at birth,
Mhm.
but my gift developed as a channeler. The psychic ability came later. Do you see
Mhm.
what I'm saying?
Okay.
Accessing from the sixth chakra, right?
Sure.
So I feel like sometimes people go, well, I want to get it that way, but they're getting the message. So I'm wondering, how did you know, like, you were accessing that healing energy, infinite source energy, whatever you want to call that? And sometimes,
Yeah.
do you see what I'm saying? Sometimes people are getting it, but they're looking for it in another way, or like they want it like their friends did it, or the person in their class got it this way, or their teacher or mentor. How did you know, like, okay, I'm coming in this way? Because it sounds like to me it was a stronger way for you. It was like a
Yeah.
like a vortex going in.
That's actually a really interesting story, and it starts before my Reiki 2 class. It actually starts with my Reiki 1 class, because I was not a natural. The way they were teaching it to us, I remember so thoroughly. I was standing behind someone who was sitting in a chair, and I was supposed to be conducting Reiki energy, and we had done our attunements, and they were just like, imagine this white light flowing through your body and coming out your hands, and it's gonna touch this person and flow through them. And I was doing my dead level best to imagine that as hard as I could, and nothing was happening. I mean, I felt nothing. And at this point, I could feel Reiki pretty strongly. I had been receiving Reiki for a couple of years, so I knew what it felt like, and it
Right.
just felt like nothing was flowing. And I remember thinking, oh my goodness, can you fail a Reiki class? Because I think I'm going to fail.
Scarlett.
Like, I'm going to need to retake this. I do not get it at all. And it wasn't until like the very last day, in the very last hour when we were doing like our practicum where, you know, somebody lays down on the massage table and we get serious. When I was talking to my guides and I was just like, I can't understand this. This is not clicking for me at all. Nothing is happening. Please help me. And they said, for God's sake, just listen. And so I stopped visualizing for a second and I just listened and they started singing. And then as soon as the song started, I could feel it. I could feel the Reiki energy. It was just coming from the top of my head all the way down to my toes and then back up and out my arms. And it was like, oh my goodness, I got it. This is it. This is what I was missing. So yes, I very much relate to sometimes your teacher doesn't always know the best way to teach you.
Yeah.
And you need to figure out a way that it actually works for you.
But I'm also wondering if you had this little intervention kind of thing, hiccup, intervention, whatever, so that you would go in this direction.
I'd say so. Yes.
Yeah, I think
absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Because when you're accessing from the astral, I mean, you're bypassing, you might go through the mental realm of imagination, but you're bypassing that, you know?
Very much, yes. Yeah, you have to rely a lot on your clairvoyance. And I've strengthened that muscle quite a bit since my Reiki 1 class. So that's a lot a bit easier now. But yeah, when you're moving through the astral plane, it very much bypasses the mind.
Yeah.
So it was this huge moment of surrender for me that really had to happen in order to get to the astral Reiki.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Well, because that's going to directly correspond, whether the person knows it or not, into the emotional body and the emotions or patterns.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So you're going right in there. So talk a little bit about the process, but whether for how your process in it and the person or anything else that you'd like to share. Because I think this is fascinating. I think that this is, I love this iteration that you're doing. I think that it's next level. You know what I mean? I really do. Just my little humble opinion. Yeah, because it's just like anything, because the mental realm, and especially in a time when we're starting to change so much of our mental constructs of what something means, you know, or this color means that, or this means this, or white light, green light, you know, those can all be good. But if you can get in there energetically and attune, you know, and align to that frequency, it's less diluted. So
yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
right?
Yes. So to answer your question, I'd want to talk a little bit about traditional Reiki first.
Okay. Sounds good.
I'm not sure how much your audience knows about traditional Reiki, but just as a quick overview, traditional Reiki is basically where the practitioner channels life force energy or light energy through their body, starting at the crown chakra, give or take, and going down to their toes, back up to the heart, and then out the hands. So that energy, it goes through the entire body before it comes out the hands and into the client. So you're very correct when you talk about it being diluted. It's why in any Reiki class they talk so much about, you know, eating clean and doing your shadow work and making sure you're positive and all of these things to make sure your vessel's as clean as possible. So you're diluting the energy as little as possible. Now, with Astral Reiki, it's very different. So what I'm actually doing is I am taking my soul or my astral body or a light body or consciousness, whatever you want to call it. It's all about the same. I like to call it my light body, so we're going to go with that. I take my light body and I remove it from my physical body. It kind of comes up and out my head. Mm-hmm. And then I take that light body over to where my client is. And then I conduct that same life force energy through my light body instead of my physical body.
Mhm.
So you're getting a much cleaner, much more undiluted energy into your body as the client. So it tends to be more intense and more efficient. And then there's also the aspect of I can really see what's going on with your body because I can see it from a bunch of different frequency bands
Mhm.
and really get a much more thorough view of any energetic imbalances or blockages or parasites or anything like that.
Mhm. And you said you kind of did this by or kind of accessed it. What did that look like and feel like? What was that?
Well, it took me a minute
Mhm.
to figure out
What
exactly
was
how
going
to.
on? Did you know what was happening right away, or?
So I've always been able to astral project. It's an excellent dissociation tool, and I had a difficult childhood. So, you know.
Oh, me too. That's how I started astral projecting because of the family. I
Yeah.
would boom, whoop. Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Totally got it. Totally got
Yes.
it.
So that has always come quite naturally. Astral projection is generally more comfortable than being inside my body. So that part was not particularly difficult. When I left my body during that Reiki 2 class, that was no big deal. But it did take me just a minute to figure out how to conduct that Reiki energy through my light body instead of my physical body, because I wasn't used to conducting it with my light body separate from my physical body. So there was a bit of a learning curve there, but overall, it was just really natural, you know?
Okay, yeah. So I love that. It's like you were totally guided into this, again, this iteration, this kind of updating, upgrade, or, new form.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
very true.
very, very cool. So do you tell people, I mean, do you need to describe that to people when you're, um, like, let's say somebody's getting a session with you?
Mm-hmm. So when I'm doing a session, if I have a new client, I will kind of take them through the process of what I'm going to do. Because a lot of times my clients come to me from word of mouth. So they've only gotten the glowing review and haven't really been let in on the process.
Mm-hmm.
So I will, take a minute, explain to them what's going to happen, let them know that, my astral body will be in there with them. So they may feel that. Don't freak out. It's not a big deal. That's what you paid me for. And let them know, that it's best to be laying down or sitting down and just stay calm as best you can. And I don't actually speak during the process of the astral Reiki once I leave my body, since my consciousness is not fully attached to my throat. It makes speech difficult, not impossible. If I need to say something, I can, but it's just hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
So
totally get that. Yeah, I can see that.
yeah, so I head over there, do my thing, and then come back and we talk about what I saw. And that's going to vary wildly.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Wow. Love it, love it, love it. That, because I love that you're working with the, through the subtle energy or inner plane, through those fields and realms is another way to look at it. And I don't know, I think that's the things to come, is to be in that light body or the spirit body. I mean, there's different terms for it, an astral body, light body, to go there and be. I do that with my shamanic work or hypnotherapy. And sometimes clients will say, "Are you in there? I see you. I feel you." I go.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for you. Because I feel like this is where things are going, and I've had different conversations with different people that have been on the podcast for through the years, and we've talked a lot about the subtle, uh, subtle energy or subtle bodies or energy medicine. Because even what you're doing, it's energetic. Even though the other is energetic, but the ability, like you said, to get out of that, the other person's denser physical body and out of those mental constructs. And let me
Mhm.
ask you, Scarlett, when you're there, do you feel freer, like you're being guided in a way to what that person is needing energetically? Do you feel like that comes through you, like more guided?
In a way, yes, and in a way, no. It actually very much depends on the governing style of my clients' guides, because my clients' guides are
Ah,
usually the ones who kind of run the session for the most
okay,
part.
okay.
And some of them are very hands-on. They have like a plan. They want me to do these very, very
Mm.
specific things. And then some of them are like, nah, just do whatever you want. Like, we trust you.
Hmm. Hmm. So
So
you
yeah,
kind of know that, you can sense that going in, or you're having some kind of connection or conversation or relaying of information. So you're getting that, you're understanding that, like
oh yeah,
guidance.
since we're on the astral plane, like, I'm hanging out in several different astral
Yeah.
planes. I call in my clients' spirit guides. We have a little confab and, figure out what the game plan is going to be. And they are varying degrees of involved in that.
Right.
And then we get to work. So, yeah, yes, I am very obviously guided in this very real, almost tactile kind of way. It's
Yeah,
almost
that's
like
what I was.
having a board meeting.
Yeah, that's what I kind of feel and can sense and see, that it is that kind of. Oh, I hope people are loving this and listen to this, because this is like, I feel like if people, especially if people are doing foundational work or processing or healing work in working on
Mhm.
patterning, I feel like this is like a great complement. And you know what's so weird, because the message I got, I don't know what time you got on the stream, but one of the messages I got this morning was, and it's so interesting we're talking about this, that we're right now in this phase, um, kind of a little bit first half of the year, this energy cleanse.
Yeah, I did hear that.
That's
It was
Yeah.
very, very synchronistic for me, because I just did a theta healing session with someone. I can't do theta healing. I was a client, just to be super clear. And like, I have spent a significant.
Ooh, Scarlett, you went out. Could everybody hear? Scarlett?
Oh, my
Oh, you went
network
out for
is.
a sec. Oh, the good. When you'll get to the good part. Okay, go. So you had a alpha theta healing session.
Yes, yes. Okay, so I'm back, right?
Okay, yeah, you're back. You're back. I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, good deal. So yeah, it was this really intense session where I very much realized that I don't really have a thorough connection to like unconditional love. So again,
Mm,
bad childhood. And
yeah.
so I spent we fixed that, but B, like, I spent most of this day sobbing my eyes out and just like connecting in with this universal love energy and thinking, oh my
Wow.
goodness, where have you been all my life? This is amazing. What was I doing before now?
Wow. That
So
is, yeah, there's something going on, because early this morning was out, and I was doing going on this walk, and thank God I had my glasses on. And then I just got weepy and kind of started crying. And it was early, it was family stuff, child that I hadn't thought of. And I thought, God, this stuff is coming up. It's been in dreams and symbolism. I'm seeing it inside of my client. And then I had done a session with the guides, and they said, yeah, there's an energy cleanse right now. People need to really cleanse the energy, any way you can. So talking with you is perfect because you do that kind of work. So anybody else feeling that, it's almost like sweeping stuff out for this next passage to come in, or get a handle, kind of make peace, accept whatever you're going to do with it, whatever people are going to do with it was the messaging that I was getting. And also to just let it come up, because we've been so entrained to be disconnected, not just from our body, but our emotions, our feelings, or grief, and just, right? Like be like that instrument that, oh, I cried, now I had a smile, I laughed, I did this, and just let it come up and out, and not have this stuck, caked on energy.
Yes, absolutely. And it was so funny for me, like even as I was sitting in this session where, I was very much the client, I was paying this person to hold space for me. Like I really struggled in that moment to cry, to show the vulnerability, and to be in that place. I mean, I did, don't get me wrong, like I got there, but it really struck me how hard it was to be that vulnerable, and to really look into why that was so difficult was fascinating for me.
Yeah.
So
one of the things, and I use this a lot now with my clients, but I started it really for me when I had done like a huge chunk of repatterning, and I just went, common sense. Of course you would do this or respond this way because that's what you were shown or taught, or that was the corresponding pattern. That was the adjustment. That's what you had to do. And so I find just even acknowledging certain things, then you can change it. Like, of course I would do that, or this is what I learned, or this is what, of course I would respond this way. I feel like we're moving in, and I don't know if you find this from your Astral Reiki that you do, or the human design, or even the crystal healing, which by the way, I'm big into crystal. I love crystals. That vulnerability, the transparency, which I know in human design, we're in that phase of becoming more transparent. I'm always saying to people, like, okay, it's not that you have to tell everybody what you do. You got to be transparent with yourself first. That's what right? And that's what I realized. Just at least be real with yourself of what you're feeling or going through or thinking. And I feel that whole, like what you're saying, that vulnerability, that we're actually going to be stronger in a different way, because we're not going to be so braced or have this kind of wall up or whatever, even energetically, especially. But that vulnerability, that how do we become more vulnerable? And I don't know, I've just seen a shift over the years that is really on a soul level, that call, like, exhale it out, exhale, transparent, be see-through, with yourself, vulnerable. But most of us weren't taught that, and that's not reinforced in the society, in schools for sure. Yeah. So I feel like that's that next, that level, but that somehow that's most powerful. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, to me, it very much makes sense that we all struggle with vulnerability, because at least in the United States, we were brought up in this public school system where you did get punished for crying. You got punished for having any kind of emotion. If you weren't sitting still and being quiet, you were punished. And so, like, it makes a lot of sense that we would struggle with this, because we're brought up from such an early age to put on a brave face no matter what. And it's so much easier to just dissociate from your emotions than it is to express them, because we're much more practiced at dissociation than we are at expression.
I remember even, and I touched on this a little bit in the beginning of the stream, but instead of yoga, I had gone to an intensive. I used to do this meditation intensive. We're meditating 8 hours a day, right? You can take a little break, like a bathroom break or whatever. And before they set it up, they're like, even if you have to an itch or something with your body, breathe through it and don't scratch. I remember doing that.
Wow.
Yeah. And then at one point I went, what the hell? This is my effing body. I gotta move, But that's what they said, that if I know, but that's what traditional meditation teach, especially Eastern and Buddhism, they would teach is like, if you're very transcendent, and these yogis, mind you, I did see some of them when I went to India. They, God love them, I don't know how they do it, but they do float around and their body is still for hours and days at a time. You can see them just sitting there. And I guess we were supposed to aspire to that. And then one day in my, learning of that and in that practice, I just went, no, if I have a itch, I'm going to scratch it. I'm just not aspiring to be there for that long. But yeah, some of these people, mostly men, they, then they're, and in the cold, they'd be in these little kind of outfits. And then, we get to talk or, observe them and connect in. And you go back and unless they were sneaking out at night doing something, going to sleep, I don't know, but they would be just staying in there and just not scratching, not blinking, nothing, just complete, which I guess is a kind of a feat in itself. But that's kind of where we're coming from. Like you said, it's like this totally buttoned up kind of ignore the body, or ignore the energetics of us.
What comes up for me when you talk about that, and I've never been to India, so I'm only living vicariously through you at the moment, but like what comes up for me is this major proving energy. Like I need to prove that I am, like, I don't know, uber spiritual.
Yes.
So,
But I think you're right. I didn't ever think of it that way, but I think the whole kind of spiritual movement went in that way. And of course it has the underpinnings of that. And it's a very nothing against patriarchy, matriarchy. They're both good. Women are good. Men are good. Let me just put that out there, because the matriarchal society before patriarchy wasn't so great or evolved. Anyway, we're creating something, a mishmash, something better. But even I noticed at one point, like yoga became that way. Everything was like, I don't know if you remember, there was the power yoga, hot yoga, how hot, how, everything was like such a competition. But that's true. So I'm wondering, do you think that's changing? I mean, it's changed in me, but I don't know. Do you think that there's because I think you're right. It was a lot about proving.
Yeah, at least that's what comes up for me at this moment. And I do think there's a lot of change afoot at the moment where that's concerned. I see so much more stuff about, embodying and scratch that itch. It's okay to have it and that kind of thing, and really falling back in love with our bodies and recognizing that the goal of being in our body is not to escape our body, but to learn from what it's like to be here. Yeah, there's a reason I'm not a Buddhist.
Yeah, no, I did. Oh, by the way, I love chanting, and I still do. I love mantra. But by the way, when I went to Thailand, China. We had this, what do you call it? Like a tour guide. And we're in this temple and there's a Buddha, and I'm all excited. I'm yelling, oh my God, Buddhism. Oh, yeah, everything's great. She's saying, cross. Michelle, where are you going? Because he had a little bowl. I was going to give money. Michelle, no, cross. She was like, like kind of urgent, whispering kind of loud. And I'm like, what's going on? I go, what? Don't go by him. What's going on? And I said, what? She goes, you'll cause him 1,000 extra years. I'm like, what? Well, because I'm a woman. And I was with my fiance at the time, and she said, give him the money to get. I said, what? I said, hold on there. What? She said, women, and that's why they're separate. If I had gone up to him and he saw me as a woman, even though I had a long skirt on, and if I'd gone up to him, it would have cost him, I never will forget this, 1,000 extra lifetimes, because he would see me in woman form. And
Wow.
I know, so that changed my tune a little, Scarlett. I was like, I better research a little bit more this stuff here, but yeah, it was yeah.
That just seems so incredibly fragile.
Oh, it was, and now, and I look back at, well, even at the time, if you can just imagine, we're in this like ancient area, and this temple, and this guy's on the, I don't know, like a ancient rock sitting there, and then there's like a road, like out in this country, and there's a road, and I'm excited. Boo this guy, and I'm beelining, and she's intervening. But she's trying not to yell, because there's other tourists, obviously, and different people, and she's like trying to pull on me, and I'm beelining.
Wow.
And I don't know what's going on. I'm like, and she's trying to be, 1,000 years you'll cost him. I'm thinking, 1,000 years? What's going on here? And then she tells me, because you're a woman, you can't put it in his bowl.
Quite frankly, if just simply seeing you as a woman would cost him 1,000 years, it seems to me like he needs it.
Yeah, right. Oh, I love that. Yeah. Oh, God. But I never looked at it like that. That proving, even like how long one meditates, what kind of meditation. There's all this. But you're right. If we're embodying this energy, and really kind of that's true self-love and acceptance and compassion, then it is like the truer path of what we're really meant to do. What's best for us, our body, or how to embody this consciousness, this energy. It's hard to compare when you're embodying, or proving. I love that you said that. That's really going to stick with me, because I never could quite figure it out, like, what is going on. But you're right. It's a proving. It's trying to prove something.
Yeah, I'm not super sure what they're trying to prove.
No, I don't know either, but yeah.
But it does seem to be some sort of very strange competition.
Yeah, like a competition and proving, and yeah, that's going to be interesting to see where we go from that, because I do agree with the embodying. That's definitely lessening.
Oh my goodness. It's like two kids playing the quiet game in the backseat of a car.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, somebody's putting in the chat, I love this. Who is this? CJoy. I love that. Yes, and especially for today's world, no one has time to sit for hours and hours in meditation. For me, 5 minutes here and there, just being connected to self and spirit is enough. Yeah,
exactly.
I agree. Well, yeah, when I wrote my book, I was doing all these different meditations, and then I did a companion. Back in the day, it was a CD, now just MP3, did the book. But in my meditation, my guides came through and said, make them small. They're attunement. You would love them. Attunement, alignment meditations. They're anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes to maybe 15 minutes at the most. And what they said to me when I was, tutelage with them, they said, Michele, this is the consciousness. Everyone is already this. They're just attuning or aligning. So it shouldn't have to take, unless someone wants to do a half hour, or whatever, but it doesn't have to take that to shift consciousness and awareness, to be in that oneness, that space, and you're a good example of that, getting on the astral plane. So I think that's kind of where we're going. Let me attune, let me tap in. It is our true nature. We are that always. It's just we get out of that through conditioning or entrainment or things that happen in life. We get kind of misaligned or, untuned, but we can just once you kind of have a way to get in or attune or align to that frequency, it can even be a matter. I know I've done it even in seconds. I think because the more you do it, the more, like I remember one time I went to the dentist, and I brought my, on my phone, I had my, some meditations, and because I thought, okay, I'm going to just zone out and I told her, I said, make sure before you do anything, remind me, because I want to get my phone, put my headphones on and whatever. And she had this TV screen with these little fish, in the ocean. And so she started doing stuff, and I guess I slowed my breath down, and then I kind of went out and I was meditating. And she says, Michele, I'm sorry I didn't remind you, because she'd already started working on me. She goes, oh, I'm sorry, you wanted to use your phone for the meditation. Do you want your phone? And I said, oh my God, I'm already in the meditative state. I was like, I know, it was so funny. I'm like, oh, no, I guess I'm okay. And I go, and she's like, I guess from doing it so long, and then my intention was there, and the little fish floating around. Dude. So, oh my God. So yeah, I agree with you, Christy, in the chat also. I agree with you. Yeah, it's people don't have, time, and it's all, about getting in that state. Let me ask you, now you're a practitioner of this, you're the creator of it. Do you teach people how to do this as well, or is it more for them to receive, or what? I'm sensing there's other things that you do with people on a healing capacity. So talk about that as well.
At the moment, I'm not teaching it. I feel like I'm still growing in it, and that's not a good enough reason not to. And I do know that. But
I bet you do someday. I bet you do.
Yeah, you are not the first person to tell me that's in the cards. But I'm not there quite yet. Yeah. What I am doing in the very near future is actually teaching some crystal classes online.
Oh, okay.
And a human design class online as well.
Ooh,
so
let's talk about that. Human design, a little bit about that. It just fascinates me, because I also have been studying the I Ching, so I love how that's brought in.
Yeah.
But it just fascinates me, and how it's lining up to now. So I don't know if there's anything you want to share that you see, whether collectively or individually or both, in human design, and maybe a little bit about what it is. I think it's still a mystery to some people, as a matter of fact.
Sure. I like to think of human design as like astrology, but more actionable.
Okay.
With astrology, it very much promotes self-awareness. But with human design, it very much gives you like this strategy for making decisions.
Yeah.
Which, is a very internal authority kind of thing, which is not something you see in a lot of systems. Most systems very much want you to externalize your power and your authority to the system. So I really like how human design very much tells you that, no, you're the one in charge. This is your experiment. You get to decide whether or not this works for you. And not a lot of other systems will do that.
Yeah.
So,
but I also think it's the reader. I think in traditional, or let's say Western astrology rather than traditional, and probably even sidereal also, or Vedic, I think a lot of it has to do with the interpreter. I agree. Yeah, don't you agree? Because boy, they will lock you into what something means and how it's supposed to be. Which I do feel with the human design, there's more breadth, there's more width of kind of examples, and probably that means, Western astrology has been Vedic, and sidereal has been around so long. I think some of the things really need to be updated. It's like even in tarot, like, can we please, every time somebody sees the devil card, they go, oh, toxic relationship. Oh my God. Or what's the addiction you got to let go of? And I'm like, guys, will you please study? That's like giving poor Capricorn, it's like it's like it's or Saturn. Oh, you're limitation. It's like, oh my God, guys, let's just update here, like, or just expand to true meanings, more the esoteric. But I don't feel that, and maybe because human design is newer, I don't feel that there's those kind of constraints or tightness with it. Is that
it's funny, that again depends on the reader.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, so it can be. Okay.
It can. It also depends on the recipient of the information. I tend to think that you can use any system to either contract yourself or expand yourself. And, astrology and human design are not different in that way.
Oh, so. I like that. I like that. Yeah, that do you find it is it complex, layered? Would you consider it that?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, extraordinarily so. So, yeah, I I have not, I've been at this for several years and I have not come anywhere close to the bottom of the well.
Yeah. I would think you would really need to study with a practitioner, probably a bit. I mean, I've tend to do a little on my own. I mean, Western astrology, I mean, I've studied, I don't know, 20 years or so, and I still am learning from it. But I think with that, you can do on your own. Now, I might be wrong. Maybe you can do that with human design, but it seems so, like I could get like a tiny little bit, but then it like mushrooms. There seems like be all these layers to it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And, you don't have to get super complicated with it. There are so many different layers. You've got your strategy and authority. Then you've got your profile lines, your centers, your channels, your gates, your lines, your PHS. And I mean, then you can look at the synastry. And like, there's so many layers. But for the most part, all you really need to function within human design, if you want to give this a go, is a decent understanding of your strategy and authority.
Mm-hmm. Now, is that the projector, generator, manifesting generator? Is that what that is?
More or less. So those are your types. Okay. So you've got, there's manifestor, projector, generator, manifesting generator, and reflector. And each type has a strategy. And then there's a whole separate thing that is somewhat influenced by type, but largely removed from it, that's called authority. And those two things make up your strategy and authority. And that's all you really need for decision-making purposes.
So you've got the types, like I am a manifesting generator.
I thought so.
You thought so? You could tell, yeah. Doing so much stuff. Yeah. But you know what? One thing that it did tie in with my Western chart was that my Mars is in the 12th house, and you really have to find a flow. Let me tell you, if you're around people that get up, go, push, and your Mars is in the 12th house, good luck. You'll be comparing and going, what about me? Why am I have to do this or that, or go with the flow, or I don't have the motivation? It's just, and so I understood it from the little I know, when I kind of got permission with the manifesting generator to like change things or go with your flow or find what you'd like. I'm like, oh my God, I naturally do that anyway. But then I tried to learn this other way that everybody got taught, push and pull, go, this, that.
Yep.
Don't let up, don't do this, don't. So I found that kind of interesting. It's just such a mystery how all of this guy developed this, and it all kind of fits together.
Yeah, well, he channeled it over 8 days in Ibiza, so it was quite the thing.
Yeah.
It does, though. It's like magic how well it works together.
So let's say people that are listening now and later in the replays, how would you describe human design? Like if somebody was thinking of getting, would you call it a session with you, or getting their chart done?
Yeah, to dip your toe in the water, I do have one of the basic sessions that just goes over your type, strategy, and authority. I think it's called a foundational reading on my website, so you can definitely sign up for that. And that's what we go over is your type, strategy, and authority, and all of the different things that come with your type, strategy, and authority. So that's really all you need. You can go deeper if you really want to. I have a whole integration journey thing. If you want to dive all the way through, we will talk about every single little aspect of your chart. But for the most part, type, strategy, and authority. That's the big way to get started.
Okay. And that's what you can help people do. Type, strategy, what was an authority?
An authority, yes. I can help with the other stuff too, don't get me wrong.
Okay,
Like,
good. But
I can.
But you're saying that's like a way to start. And how would you, like, is it a map? How would you describe when a human design? Like, how would people use human design? I think it's a map, right? Is it called a map? What's it?
Shoot. It's called a chart.
A chart. Okay.
Yeah, it's called a chart. And generally, the way that I describe human design is this is a chart that basically tells you how your body functions optimally.
Wow. Okay. Putting that in the chat. How your body operates optimally. Okay.
Yeah. And like you can do whatever it is that you want. You obviously have freedom of choice. But if you want life to go more smoothly, here's the chart that tells you how to make that happen.
Wow. And what do you know? Did you get a reading first and then you decided to?
No.
Oh, you didn't. You just were drawn to it.
I still to this day have never actually gotten a reading.
Oh Scarlett.
I went and got my certification instead.
Boy, were you clear. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, I was. I should really do that sometime, but
well, you can do yourself though, right? You can look at
exactly.
Okay, yeah,
and I have multiple times.
Okay.
So.
Now, do you mind me asking? What is your type?
So I am a manifester, and if you want to do the whole thing, I am a 5/1 emotional manifester. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so all that pushing that comes from us conditioning you.
Oh, well, are manifestors able to push?
Oh yeah, we do it really well, actually. Like our main function is to initiate.
Oh, okay.
So.
Now, does the manifestor have to kind of wait for kind of inspiration or that energy, that solar, or not necessarily, that solar plexus kind of?
So it's like we go through life initiating everyone around us without waiting for anything. But when you're talking about doing stuff, when you're not necessarily talking about our energy, but like what we do, what we have is a creative urge or a rest cycle and a creative cycle. So our energy is by far the most volatile of the types. And so we will go through these almost manic periods of time where we like are creating something really, really big, or maybe even not that big, but new. We're creating something new. Right. And then we will go into a rest cycle to rest up for the next time we create something new.
Okay. So it could be really good to know this. Now, let me ask you, do you find that people kind of make, like, getting this, you can right away see what it is you need to kind of see, like what it is that's your map or chart that's beneficial? Is it something that you can kind of immediately start integrating, do you think?
Relatively quickly. Some people really struggle with what their type is, and sometimes even what their authority is. I find that really common with projectors. They like to believe that they're manifesting generators, so it takes them a while to buy into the experiment, and even if they do give it a try, they're convinced it absolutely won't work, and then are really annoyed when it does. It's like half of projectors.
You know, I was just going to ask about that because that's one that I don't really kind of understand. And I have a friend that's a projector, and I'm just like, there's another one. What is it? Projector?
Reflector.
Reflector also. Those two, but they were definitely their projector. And they just seem to have, I don't know, maybe a lot of trouble getting things going. Or getting, or thinking,
Yeah.
or getting, like you said, in a loop of kind of overdoing or over creating.
Yeah, because for generators, manifestors, and manifesting generators, we all kind of have this production. Like, we're all kind of doing something. Like, what we're doing is going to vary wildly, but like, we're all sometimes or all the time doing something. But with a projector, it's very, very different because their value is not derived from what they create. Their value is derived from their insight.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and so a lot of projectors have a really, really hard time with their strategy, which is to wait for the invitation. And they have a really hard time not tying their worth to what they can accomplish. And yeah, it's a hard road for a projector because it goes against everything our society teaches us.
That's what I thought, because I was telling another friend of mine, I'm just so glad I'm not a projector. It just seems so challenging. It's like, well, what are you supposed to do? What do you do?
It's actually really simple what a projector is supposed to do, but they very much don't believe people when we say it. What a projector is supposed to do is dive deep into their fascinations, become a more interesting person whenever they can, and then go out into the world and shine. And as they shine, people will recognize them and they will invite them to do stuff.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And that is how that actually works. And so many projectors, they miss a step of that somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of what I've seen. And the
it's usually the going outside part.
Yeah. Going outside and doing, like, what do you
just shining.
Just
like
shining.
I mean, literally, it's just people will be attracted to your energy because you spent so much time cultivating it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that could be good for anybody in a way, I think.
That is true. That is true. It's just that that's what works best for projectors. You know, I get to push, I get to initiate, I don't have to wait for an invitation because I'm just going to mow over somebody or something. Like,
and make it happen. Yeah.
I've got that bulldozer energy. And you know, you've got that wait to respond and then bulldoze energy.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's just it's different.
Yeah. And you know, the way to respond, at least for my, for my type is so powerful, because I naturally would do that anyway. And then I would try to not do it and course correct because I would think that I shouldn't be waiting. Right.
Yeah.
But everything naturally, even workshops or anything that I would do, it's usually I do it because people request it. They start asking or emailing, and then I do it. So once I learned, and I'm like, oh my God, I was doing it right, for me, intuitively, naturally. But then I'd look around and other people would say, well, no, Michele, you need to push through this, or you need to initiate, you need to start this. And then I'm like, yeah, but then if I don't have that request, then I do feel a little lost, like I'm kind of in the wading pool, swimming and treading water kind of. I don't know, it's a weird feeling, because you're kind of, I don't know if it's like the request is inspiring, but there's some energetic flow there, vortex that it creates, that now I guess it's the responding. Now that I talk to you, it's the responding.
It's the giving you something to respond to. So like, I imagine that you have actually gotten many requests that your sacral just said no to. It's just that you kind of forgot about them because they didn't matter.
Right. Oh, that's interesting. You're right. It's the responding, that energy comes through so clearly to having something to respond to. But if
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that, or it's something that, like you're right, I'm just not picking up on it, or it's like it's a meh, then I'm like, no. So,
Yeah. And then you forget about it.
yeah, yeah, very, very true. Wow, I've loved connecting with you, Scarlett. This has just been so fun to share. Um, you also do crystal work, so let's let people know how. Now, do you do individual sessions with the human design? How does that work? And the astral reiki, I think, is individual when I looked at your.
They're all, yes, everything's individual at the moment. So if you want to get a crystal consultation with me, I can do that. I've got a few different human design individual session offerings, and then Astral Reiki at this moment is also individual.
Okay, great. And then again, just give the website. Best place to connect with you, I think, is the website, but you also do have Insta, and a lot of people are on Insta. So
I do exist on Insta, but that's about all I do.
yeah, okay, I hear you. I'm not on consistently, and sometimes my numbers go way high, and people, I'm getting all these views and whatever, and 50,000, 30, and then nothing, because I just, again, if I don't have something to share or say, I don't churn it out.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, so
Is
for me, Instagram's not a big thing, but I very much live on my website. I do check my email.
Oh,
So if
okay.
you have questions, you can always email me, and definitely sign up for the newsletter. Again, yourabundantdesign.com or astralreiki.net. They both get you to exactly the same place. But that's the main place I live, is on my website.
Okay. And then we had a question. I bet you tie crystals to human design. If not, you should. Thanks to
Oh,
both
yes,
of
I
you.
absolutely
Great conversation.
I'm
Yeah.
actually
Okay.
working on a book where that's
Oh,
concerned.
wonderful. Okay. So if I'm hearing you right, so I guess you guys just have to go to yourabundantdesign.com
Yes.
and check out things. And then what was Insta again? Was also Your Abundant Design?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, just see what's there, and then if they want to email you, is it? It's probably on your website, but what's the email if you don't mind giving it out?
Sure. That's Scarlett at yourabundantdesign.com or Scarlett at astralreiki.net. Either way. I also have a contact form on my website.
Okay, perfect. Scarlett, I hope you come back. This has been so fun. I feel like I've learned a bunch here.
Oh, thanks.
Some pieces here to bring into my little mental realm and digest. Oh, somebody's saying, "Hey, Michele, when will the archives be released on Podbean?" Working on editing those, so they'll start. Let's see, tomorrow, Friday, and then again once a week here on Podbean, as well as the live stream will be available after this, but then it'll be in podcast form Friday, and then you'll be able to get it on all the podcast platforms. Who was, I don't know who that was. Brianna. Yeah, Brianna. Hi, good to see you. Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for asking. Good to see you here as well. So last minute, any question, last chance. Otherwise, you got to email Scarlett. Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Yeah, thanks for being here, Scarlett. This was fun.
Thank you so much for having me, Michele. This has just been a breath of fresh air. I really loved being here.
Oh, thanks. Ditto, ditto, ditto. And come back anytime you want to just chat, hang out, or if you have something that you want to share. Also, you have something that's launching, or anything you want to let people know about.
Okay, I will
Okay.
take you up on that.
Okay, sounds good. Take good care. Bye. Hello, gang. Okay, let's see. Yeah, so having to get those. Brianne, that's great. Great to see you. Great to see everyone here in the chat. So that was Scarlett Seebach. You can find out more, yourabundantdesign.com. Great information and insight. I really had fun chatting. So yeah, if you guys have any guest suggestions or topic suggestions, email me either at awakeningspodcast@gmail.com. That's a good place, especially for guests. But if you have topic suggestions, you can email there too. But for guests, Sadie takes care of guests that you want to see on or see back. But also info@soulplayground.life. You can connect with me there if you have any topics, or through the Instagram. We have a group on Instagram as well. If you're part of Patreon, my Patreon group, you can always, DM me or just put it in the comments. Or if you subscribe to Awakenings with Michele Meiché on YouTube, the podcast, or Soul Insights and Tarot on YouTube, I always read the comments. Those are easier places for me to read comments, even more so than, unless you're doing it in the Awakenings Patreon group. I don't go through all the DMs individually. It's just too much. There's just too many ways to access that I have to, read this here, read that. So, but I am big on comments on Soul Insights and Tarot, Awakenings with Michele Meiché podcast. Both of those are on YouTube. And definitely I do read the DMs and answer the DMs on Patreon, and also the comments there. It's just easier if I'm commenting or going to the comments on previous videos. It's just easier for me to do that than to scroll through a bunch of, different kinds of DMs. And I don't, like I even said was to Scarlett, I'm not on Instagram as much. I want to be on more, but I go in stages. If I have something to say, to share, the guides have some messages, then I put the reels up. Usually stories, I'll post stories, like if I have a thought or feeling, or I'm out and about doing something, or on a hike or whatever. I usually do Monday mantra on the stories. So we'll see if I start doing reels again more. I will definitely do that. Also, if you want to receive daily soul notes, I'm on Substack now, Soul Journey. I think it's Michele Meiché Soul Journey, or Soul Journey Michele Meiché. I don't know, whatever. But you'll find it, Soul Journey. But sign up for Soul Notes. I've been doing these daily notes, and they go right in your inbox, tuning in on a soul level, a daily note for you, a daily note from the soul. So it's called Notes from the Soul. And Brianne, thank you. Love your Soul Insight Tarot channel. So loved your 2026 pick a card. Oh, thank you, Brianne. Thank you. Thank you. That makes me feel so happy. Going through some kind of interesting shift or transition. I'm pretty much shifting and transitioning. So who and what I'm attracting is different. I'm in this whole upgrade, up leveling. I have been in the last 6 months, and I would say definitely increase. I think since last June, July, and definitely my connection with Three Eye Atlas really up that. So yeah, it's some of you may be going through that too as well. We can talk about it, or you can call in, or if you're in Patreon, let me know. But yeah, you're going to start feeling that like something's changing. Like, oh, I'm not drawn to this or attracted to this. And the reason being is it's an energetic, a vibrational energetic shift. It's literally the pulse and waveform of us is changing. It's the shape of us is changing. We're in this bioelectrical, biomechanical, shift, the bioelectrical aspect of us. It's our body. It's changing our, we talked about it with Scarlett today on the live stream. It's the embodiment, how we embody us, how our soul design signature is bodied in us. How is our body responding to the higher divine and more expanded aspects of us, the higher expanded consciousness of us? So we're doing, it's going to be a lot of mental, emotional reframing, especially as Uranus goes back into Gemini. Obviously Pluto in Aquarius, Saturn, and Neptune in Aries. It's a reformatting. It's a revealing of what couldn't be revealed and lived out on the earth plane. So we're all going to be a little bit like bananas or oranges, peeled. We're getting peeled, guys. We're peeling open. Anyway, I love all of you so much. I feel so inspired when I connect with all of you. I really do. And I love hearing from you. And I love when you are in the chat or you call in and you share what you're thinking or going through or ask questions. And the connection and sharing means a lot. I appreciate it. And I'm very inspired by it. So, as always, continue to shine your light, share your insight. Yeah, peeling. Oh my God, Brianne is peeling an orange right now. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love what a synchronicity. It's funny because I started saying banana and then I got the vision of an orange. Oh my God. And I'm not looking down at my phone. So anyway, gang, join the conversation, subscribe, say hello. Let people know in the chat what you do also, or if you want to share or collab with someone or just connect more. And if you're part of the Patreon Soul Path Awakening group, let us know more about you and what you're doing or what you want help or support in, or maybe you want to collaborate. I don't know. Just let us know more about you. Reveal more about you. Like an orange, like Brianne is peeling the orange in the chat. All right, so get people to join the conversation and let's keep this conversation going. I'm getting woke and staying woke.
Awakenings broadcasts every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Pacific Time. Archive shows available on iTunes. For continued awakened conversations and insights, join the Awakenings group on Facebook. And check out Michele's blog at soulplayground.com. And keep awake.